Welcome back to our next video, all about sugar and that pesky blood sugar roller coaster. I'm Megan Forbes. Hopefully you know me by now. I'm certified health coach with Meghan Forbes Coaching and also Reiki practitioner. And with me is the lovely...
Surprise, surprise, I am Meghan Manso and I am a registered homeopath and Reiki practitioner as well.
So today we're going to talk to you a little bit about blood sugar, sugar in general, and the whole idea, don't let sugar be your daddy. Not that I know. But that's the thing is that sugar, when it gets into your system and it sends you on these like peaks and troughs, which Megan's going to talk to you about, it decides when, it decides for how long, it decides how much, it decides when you're going to want it again. And fuck that noise. I'm an independent woman. I make my own choices, and I want to get in control of these cravings before they start to rule my life. So, important thing to remember is we're not just talking like your sugars here, which is found in, baked goods over Christmas, or that you put in your coffee, or whatever it is. We're also talking about simple carbohydrates. So these are things like your white bread or rice, any of that kind of white flour that we get and we put into our baked goods. That's also really dangerous as well and acts within your body the same way as a sugar does, because in the processing of these kind of, well, we call them foods, but are they really? I'm not sure. They actually strip away all the vitamins, minerals, fiber, which is a huge one, and it almost becomes unrecognizable to your body. So avoiding these things in the first place is a fantastic way to just do your digestive system some justice, and also not make you reach for that, extra handful of peanut M&Ms.
Whatever sugary thing you love.
So here's the tip. Satisfy your sweet tooth. I'm not saying deny yourself things that are sweet, but a great tip is to start to incorporate things into your diet which are naturally sweet, not artificially sweet. So these are things like squash, yams, carrots, beets, great spices like cinnamon and nutmeg. Fruits are fantastic for this as well, and if you start to incorporate those into your diet throughout the day, then it's more likely you'll be able to curb your sweet tooth later on in the night and not go reaching for those brownies or profiteroles or whatever it is that you fancy.
Whatever deliciousness.
The other thing is you can do is balancing your diet with lots of healthy fats. So things like avocados, nuts, coconut oil, chia seeds. These are things that are going to just really help to balance your system in the first place. Now, I'm not an absolute tyrant. I know you're going to indulge, but if you are going to, then here's the tip. Just have a little sophisticated addition to your dessert platter and add something that's full of dark cocoa. I'm talking 70% cocoa or higher. Lots of antioxidants in that as well. So you'll be able to satisfy your sweet tooth and do your body some good at the same time.
Good. Delicious. And I mean, dark cocoa is actually really good.
Don't you feel more classy when you eat dark chocolate?
Girl, I'm fancy when I drink. I love it. So what I'm going to talk to you about is actually more about sort of the science behind what happens when we're actually ingesting huge amounts of sugar, which happens around the holidays, work parties, yada yada. So, if you're wondering why you've got an extra roll on your side, or you're waving goodbye and your arm keeps waving after you've stopped waving, it's probably because you have put on a couple pounds because you've overeaten. And a lot of these foods that we eat, guys, around Christmas time, the reality is that it's bad carbohydrates that turn into sugars, it's simple carbs, it's pastries, it's everything that we've talked about, right? And so what's happening? Why am I gaining that extra roll, or why the F is my arm not slowing down after I stopped it? So when we ingest a lot of sugar, the first thing that our body does is releases insulin from the pancreas, because insulin is a little transporter that brings the sugar to cells that need the sugar for all the many hundreds of functions that our body does, right? So that's like, awesome. So I'm feeding my body. That's amazing. I should be eating way more sugar. Wrong, okay? Because what happens is after you first have given your surge of insulin and your cells have utilized the sugar that it can utilize. And mind you guys, be careful, because diabetes, this is where it comes from. When you're constantly pounding on your pancreas and constantly requiring insulin for all the sugar utilization, eventually your pancreas is like, fuck off, I'm not working anymore. And so that's where diabetes starts to come in. Okay, so then round 2, what happens after the insulin? Well, then your liver's like, whoop, hold up, wait a minute, I'm gonna like step in here and take over. And so our liver has the responsibility of turning glucose, sugar, into glycogen, and it stores it. So, you know, you always hear with exercise, right? We had a video about exercising, folks. When you're exercising, you know, it usually you want to do like a 50-minute, 60-minute exercise, because that's how you get into the fat cells of burning, because your liver stores glycogen. And when you require sugar or energy to utilize your muscles, your liver then turns glycogen to glucose and sends it back out. So round 2, your liver starts to take the extra glucose, turn it into glycogen and store it. But then what happens when, you know, the club shuts down and the red rope goes across and you're not allowed in anymore? Well, that's where we start to gain the weight, because let me tell you that the excess sugar gets stored into fat cells, okay, simply put. And there is no end to the amount of fat that we can store. You know, unfortunately, that's just the reality of it. And those fat stores are there to protect us and to be utilized for things like in times of starvation or food hunger, those types of things that happened so many years ago. But now, with the way in which our access to middle aisle foods is, we overindulge in all these foods, and it's way too much for our body. It's way too much sugar for our body. And so what happens is that excess that we eat gets stored into fat cells, and fat cells can multiply and multiply and multiply. And please remember that if you are losing weight, you don't lose the fat cell, it just shrinks. So that's why it's so easy to gain weight again. So if you gain some weight over the holidays, just be mindful. If you lose the weight and then you wonder why you put it all back on again when you had, you know, another couple pieces of cake, it's because once we make those fat cells, they don't go away. They just shrink. Okay, so we need to be really conscious. We need to respect our bodies. We need to be aware of what's happening when we're eating pastry after pastry after pastry. We're giving you some simple tips and tricks. Meghan has done a wonderful job to sort of scale back and to make some modifications during the holiday season. But, you know, treat yourself. It's okay to treat yourself, but be aware when you're over-treating and you're in the mentality of fuck it, I don't care, and then you hit the crash afterward, because you all know what happens. You eat you do a ton of sugar, and then you hit a crash. And then you eat more sugar because you need more energy, and then you hit a crash. Really think about it. What is going on with your body? That's not healthy. So we're really just trying to give you some simple tools to use. Treat yourself. We get it. We're human. We're here once on this planet. Enjoy it, but just be mindful.
Yeah, thanks for watching this week. That's some really great insight that you've given into the way that really works. And just a quick other one. When you're looking at labels on the food that you're eating, fat-free.
Yeah, be careful, guys.
Be really careful about that, because you got to get the flavor from somewhere, and often that means the addition of sugar.
Yeah. We know these are simple tips and tricks that you've heard before, but if you don't hear it in repetition, then you forget and you do it anyway. So.
It's actually a huge paradigm I take from my health coaching practice is knowledge does not equal behavior change. Yeah. It's repetitive action and repetitive reminders that are what's really going to change your behavior over time.
Yeah, so enjoy your sweets, but just be mindful, guys. And next week,
we're going to take a look at sleep.
Oh, it's so good.
Good luck getting
it's
enough
so good.
of that.
All right, guys, take care. We'll catch you.